Got it. Are you ready to get covered in film? Tonight, we bring you David Slade's 2005 feature film debut, Hard Candy. But before we get into that, because apparently we got some stuff to get into.
Let that be on a cliffhanger right there. You did a long pause.
Well, you know,
That could have been a not joke.
it's a psychological thriller, baby. You don't know what's coming. Allow me to introduce the covered in film crew. First up, if you like a nice morning bike ride on a picturesque 2-lane road, he already hates you. It's Russ Dinkwad Craigie.
Dinkwad.
Yeah, dual income, no kids with a dog. Next in the rotation,
nice.
We have.
Nice. Where did you get that? That's great. Joe was looking up things to call people and came upon a real winner.
Some people enjoy gardening. He pays to garden other people's land. Ben, the sharecropper Hanson. Except I think he actually the crop he shares is green with Benjamins on it. Oh, wait, that's weird.
None of that sounds actual. None of that sounds.
It's on the actual. And ending the beginning.
No actual, no cactual, and no factual.
He's often mistaken for a homeless vagrant in early episodes and sometimes in public. I am Joe, the bandana man, Morgan.
All right.
The bearded baritone.
Also known as the bearded baritone in some circles.
AKA Tulu Chew. AKA
the visceral and visual betrayal to our friendship.
Wow, man, getting off to a good start here. So we're just going to open up. We're just going to open up with spoilers right out of the gate, and we're just going to address the elephant in the room. Russ, how did you feel about the castration scene?
This was the first movie where I consciously said, I'm not watching a part of the movie, and I'm still going to talk about it. I never wanted to watch this movie again, but I do this show with you guys, and you made me. So that's how I feel about that scene. I don't like surgery stuff. The show House, hate watching it. Dexter, hard to watch. How do you feel about
needles? Like when they show a needle puncturing skin. How does that grab you?
It depends on where it goes in. If it goes like,
how about a scalpel? What about when they got to cut in with the scalpel?
Really bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know. Little tidbits about Russell I didn't know.
Well, yeah, literally.
Have you ever seen the movie Spies Like Us?
I have a panic attack every time I give blood.
I don't do well with needles. Like in real life, I don't do well with needles. And we've discussed it before. I don't like the visual, the really visual violence. But this one, I mean,
like a lot of it was off screen.
All right. How'd you feel about it, Ben?
The castration scene?
Yeah.
I didn't give two balls about it.
Neither did he. Who knew?
Yeah. No. What I mean, the first time I watched this movie when it came out. Shout out to Blockbuster. Working at Blockbuster, definitely watched this movie. When it came out, it was kind of a phenomenon. It was, I don't know, I felt like it was a series of movies where like we're gonna push the boundaries. And it, to me, culminated, I don't even remember the name of the movie, but it had Alicia Cuthbert in it. And there's a scene where a dude he's got her strapped to a table, and he takes pieces of bodies of people he's already killed, puts them in a blender, makes them into a mush, and then puts a funnel in her mouth and makes them drink it. And I thought, I'm never watching another one of these movies again.
Yeah,
I don't ever need to see that shit. Unfortunately, like Russ, I never wanted to watch this movie again, but I do this show, and you made me. I had to just lay there while it happened to me. And
this movie happens to you.
That movie was
Yep.
called Captivity.
cool, thanks.
Man, Russ, hey, the
Neat.
Googler on point. He's got it.
Just in
He's got
case
it.
you want to
Good
avoid
job.
it.
All the
Guy in the
information in the
chair. Way to
world
go.
at your fingertips. He's your man in the van.
Uh-huh.
Fucking grossest shit ever. Like, anyway.
I feel like this movie, the castration scene, overshadowed the rest of the movie.
Tell us about how you felt about that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you guys. This wasn't a movie I ever went to see. I was married at the time, and my ex-wife been to her well enough to her fascination. We used to always watch the first 48. You know, unsolved mysteries. She was into all that shit. And it wasn't until we got divorced that I realized how much my general life anxiety had been increased by watching and consuming that type of content. I actively don't consume this type of content in my life anymore for exactly those reasons. I don't need to see people getting cut open. I don't need to see people's body parts getting blended and fed to them. I don't need to see that. I have the
How do you
power
feel
to
about getting
control
crushed
the
by a
media
tank?
that I consume. Yeah, you know, I don't want to see that, but I do this show, so I watch these movies. Right?
I'm picking another World War II movie next to get back at you.
Shocker.
Oh, tanks.
Shocker. Spoilers incoming. That being said, on this watch through, and partly it was picked because of recent corollaries with life events and things that I had to get done.
You donated your balls, right?
Well, you know, I've donated a segment of their functioning to prevent children.
So you can never be a, what is it? Wickdam? Dampwick? Wiccan? Rush, you're a Wiccan? Did you take on Wicca?
Wikipedia.
I do that
coming
too.
right now.
Can I cast spells because I read Wikipedia?
This movie
Fight
is hard.
The fact that this scene seems to completely derail the reception of this movie on this show, on this watch through, I was actually struck by it being well done, and was surprised when I went to do my research how much acclaim it had gotten. I think this scene, you know, to just cap the conversation about the castration scene, I think it takes away from what is actually a well executed movie, especially when you look more into it and you find out that they deliberately kept the budget low to keep the studio from changing anything,
from messing with it. Do like that. That's a full quarter of a letter grade it gets for that little bit.
You know, all of it was
so
shot.
Don't worry if you don't like this section, Joe. We'll cut it.
It is what it is.
This is a vasectomy joke.
Yeah, no, I got it. Ben just likes to cut stuff out.
Cut
this
it
movie
out.
was so good that it made $8.3 million in the box office. You know what movie made 3 times as much as that? Battlefield Earth.
Oh God.
Oh, Battlefield Earth.
How much did Battlefield Earth cost to make?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it does matter.
It does. Yeah, it does.
The other surprising fact about this movie, and then we'll move on to the rate it and grade it, is the fact that it was shot in 18 days.
18 days.
I can believe that.
That's surprising.
I could shoot this movie in 18 days.
I think David Slater. No, it's not David Slater. David Slade actually brought some of his experience shooting commercials and hip hop music videos to the production. Couldn't find any commentary on it, but yeah, it was interesting. 18 days.
18 days.
Ben,
Battlefield Earth.
How long did it take him to make 30 Days a Night?
Nobody gives a fuck about Battlefield Earth. Ben,
$73 million budget.
Ben,
fucking sucks.
Rate it and grade it.
Who, me?
The best thing I can do for our friendship is let you rate it first. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody just said that on a show Kelly watches, and I thought that would be pretty funny. Um, I never wanted to see this movie again. It's boring as fuck. Uh, I think it is some of Elliot Page's trying to act way too hard. Um, Not a huge fan of it and would not recommend it. Uh,
Just spit
Looking
it
for
out
something
already.
positive I wrote,
Jesus.
but it did really it launched it launched them into their career. But yeah, I have trouble not going minus, but I'll just go a solid D.
All right. All right.
D is in don't
Russell?
watch this movie.
Russ, how did you feel about it? Give me your rate it and grade it.
You know, I had not seen this movie since the first time I watched it, primarily because I did not find that I liked it enough to want to watch the castration scene ever again. And so, as you said, that scene, like, this movie's just all about that scene. That's what people remember it for. I couldn't really even remember the rest of the movie all that well. I knew it was about some pedophile getting punished, but as I was watching it, and I was like, this movie sucks. It's boring. And I thought Patrick
That's good.
Wilson's acting was quite good at some parts. The parts where he's really, really, really frustrated and he's like spitting as he's yelling and everything, even though I would not have made the decisions that he made, but the director was telling him to do that. He was just trying to act it. But Elliot Page, no, couldn't buy it at all. It was so forced and not believable, and just I can't think of a reason to watch this movie. It's a D.
Yeah,
Interesting.
at the time it came out too, it was like it wasn't as bad. I don't know. Maybe we've just there's been performances since then. I don't know. But yeah, at the time it was like, is she a little too over the top? And now you're watching, it's like, come on, man, fucking pull back a little bit and try and pretend you're actually 14. I was surprised that she was 17 when she made this. Like, she looks like a 22-year-old pretending to be 14. Like, that's how fucking 14-year-olds look like. It's
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, in
and
2023, that's what they look like.
the level.
oh yeah,
of-
they also I'm so sorry, I wanted to amend mine. They do use the name Goldfrapp for a band. It's a D minus.
That's
the dumbest fucking name for a band I've ever heard is Goldfrapp. They are
Nice.
absolutely trying to capitalize on Starbucks and Goldfinger and made a fucking Goldfrapp. Oh,
Hey, man, I heard they
You
won the
know,
Battle
when-
of the Bands last week.
Is that a real band? I wanted to Google it.
fuck
as
no,
she
it's
said.
not.
No, it's not a real band.
Anybody who made a band called Goldfrapp and then tried to go play a show got laughed off the fucking stage.
It's an electronic duo. Started in 1999. in London.
Wow. There it is. In London, that
Well,
makes sense.
You're bloody dumb, blokes. Ditch the name.
No, I think Russ is taking a Mickey. Are you taking a piss?
You might. You're lying about this. You're lying. I got a funny story about somebody calling somebody a liar, but we'll save it for later. Go ahead. Joe, what did you think about this movie that
So,
you suggested
nobody
we watch that has two
cares.
people in it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fair.
I want to know what your rating for Waiting was before you give your rating on this one to see which one is better.
Waiting is a better movie.
I would disagree with you
God.
there.
You're welcome to. You're welcome to. We've well established that you have no sense of comedy.
Wow.
I do think
Well
I'd rather
established.
watch Waiting again though.
Wow.
But-
Yeah, I would watch Waiting again. And at
Proving
least
that
laugh
you
at a
guys-
couple of parts.
Both like balls. because you like to see him played with, you like to see him stretched, you like to see him shown off, but you don't like to see him cut up and separated from your
And then
from
put
their
into a
home.
garbage
Yeah,
disposal.
put into a garbage disposal. I think taking away the castration scene and the shock value, because most men who watch this movie can't get past it. I actually disagree. I found her acting to be a little bit
Hammy.
intense. You know, like it felt like she was. I felt like she was trying a little bit too hard to lure him in, and he was a
That could
little
be the title of this movie.
too eager to be lured in. You know, like I felt like rather than it being bad acting, I felt like it portrayed the roles. Like she was so keen on getting the invite back to his place, and he was like, so just, oh, this is just falling into my lap. Look at how this is happening.
I'd give it an 1/8 of a grade for the opening scene. When you know what she's doing, it is very interesting to watch that perfect little. I'm gonna entice this guy in. He's gonna ignore any red flags.
Yeah,
An 1/8 of a grade for that. Sure.
yeah,
An 1/8 of a grade. What is that? So you
Yep.
come up to a D?
no, it's
No,
like
no, I mean, that's why it's not an F.
it's a D minus plus.
Um,
Oh, excuse me. I found the fact that there was basically two people in the entire movie to be. I don't know. I actually watched the movie this time with the intention of watching the movie minus the castration scene, and was pleased, generally speaking, with how the movie portrayed itself. It's not something I'm going to go watch again, or I'm going to tell a bunch of people to watch. But overall, it wasn't the worst movie I've seen. I'd probably put it at a C. The way they keep bringing it around, like you almost expect the castration scene to be the climax, and to come back around and to have kind of, you know, the little
it would have
psychological thriller plot twist to get him to hang himself.
been better if it was. Yeah, the ending is unsatisfactory. Just so that she can, or maybe I won't. I'm
I
gonna
mean,
let you be known.
that part was cheesy.
Whatever.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I mean, like she like after everything that's happened, he's really gonna believe her and take solace so that after he hangs himself, she's gonna go clean everything up. I mean, like, give me a break, right? It's not a good movie, but I'd give it a C minus.
That whole everything that happens after that, where she's just like leaves him alone long enough for him to escape and then has the fucking shocker.
Oh yeah, no, she sets up the
then-
whole
That's my favorite
ambush.
part of the movie.
Sets up the whole ambush in the
That's-
shower, and I love that she's
Yeah.
running this taser, and everybody's covered in water, but he's the only one getting shocked. Like that part
That's
was
what
great.
I said. Wouldn't she get shocked too?
Oh fuck yeah, she would.
Yeah, but when he's crawling down the hall and then she gets angered from breaking the little vase and then goes and shocks him, that's probably my favorite part of the movie. That part's funny. Like, oh, I'm frustrated. I'm gonna go tase this guy. Fuck yeah, that felt good.
Okay, the very ending when she goes up to him and she's like, now that I've emotionally broken you down, I'm going to make myself completely vulnerable and come over right next to you and convince you to hang yourself. She's like, hey, you're out of this now. Kill me. Just kill me with your hands because I don't have a gun anymore. I don't have any ability to overpower you. And he's like, nah, I'll just hang myself. No, he should have just fucking killed her. And then
Yeah, I'm a 14-year-old
He
girl
got
who
away
weighs
with
70
it.
pounds. Definitely don't pick me up over your head and throw me off the roof. Don't do that because
Right.
I've completely broken you down and now you're absolutely my thrall. I
That was
mean,
the point.
this
That
guy
was
is
that.
supposed to have murdered people, right? In her mind. Although it seems like bullshit at the end. I feel like they should have really hammered down on that as a plot point of like, I know you killed my friend. And then she even talks about, because I killed this other guy who said you did it. Well, you can't really believe somebody you're killing. They're going to tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear, number one. And number two, like that should have been a better plot point woven through the movie rather than just dropped it a few times and making her seem like this monster. She wasn't monstrous enough. to be the bad guy of this movie, and she's not good enough to be the heroine of the movie or the hero, whichever is proper. Jesus, why did we do this movie?
I'm gonna
Walking
throw
through
the
a
hot.
minefield.
No, you're right. It is a minefield, and I'm gonna throw the hot take out there, and we're just gonna have the discussion.
No,
The
don't do
subject
it.
of him being a pedophile
Don't.
Don't you do it.
eclipses
Don't you put that knife in your leg.
anything that they could try to portray on the scene to make her look bad. You can't
To them.
really
To make
truly
them look bad.
the character in the movie.
Right.
You can't.
I like. Can we do Talladega Nights instead? I like Ben's idea.
We already did it.
Yeah, we did
We
that
already
one.
did it. I watched it not long ago. I needed something funny on at work while I was typing away and doing shit, and watched it. And the movie hit some great key points.
But-
Okay, but what do we like about? What was Joe gonna say?
No, I mean just that the subject matter I think was specifically crafted to. In fact, it's mentioned that it was originally conceived as a reverse predator situation.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they put
No,
just
it is
enough out
interesting.
there to give you a little bit of doubt, like Ben said, that all right, so maybe he's a pedophile, but did he murder that chick?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, up
But
until
the fact
the
that he's a
very-
pedophile is enough.
up until the very end,
Like-
you're
I mean,
kind of on
it's-
his side. You think maybe she is just crazy, but
They do put just enough of the doubt out there. Okay, so she's got he admits to one instance of some bad shit went down. But then she emails his victim, and the victim shows up, and that conversation isn't worth
Calls.
having because then we're getting
Calls. Now
calls him.
hey, come on. She writes a confession letter and then calls pretending to be a police officer
right.
to talk to his ex.
Not
Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm getting a call from a police officer, I don't expect to hear her on the other end of the phone. The character is a her
even, right.
on the other end of the phone. There's no police station sounds behind them. There's
No badge number. There's no,
no.
nothing.
No,
Yeah.
and they don't just do that. Hey, come down. They only call you and tell you better get to the station, or do we send somebody to pick you up? Are you able to come down? You're going to be here by this time? Okay.
Right.
And then if you don't show up, they send a fucking cruiser out and they pick your ass up. That's the only time cops are calling you, asking you to come in. They
Right.
aren't calling you and saying, go to your ex-boyfriend's house. That's fucking retarded.
hey, we don't, and that's okay.
My bad. That's a bad plot device.
Yeah, it is a bad plot device, but they do. I just wanted to speak on the fact that they do by the end of the movie, like when it closes, you're like, all right, so he deserved it, probably deserved it, more than likely deserved it.
What she finds in his coffee table would lead you to believe he deserves some kind of a punishment, and has some dark shit so dark that he has bought a coffee table that you cover up with river rocks to hide a safe that's in it.
Yeah, if you're
I don't know
innocent, you don't do that
anything
shit.
remotely like that.
Yeah,
I think that the fact that he kills himself solidifies the fact that he was a bad guy.
yeah, exactly. And anyways, it's just a point that I wanted to make, that I thought that the movie was executed well enough to leave those doubts for you at the end. You're not 100% on her side. You're not any on his side. And so you're kind of left with this
which leaves you-
unsatisfied,
who gives a shit
meh
land?
of,
I
what
do
the fuck?
think, like when this movie first came out, it was kind of like a phenomenon. I don't think it was in theaters,
It was.
but at Blockbuster,
It was
like
in theaters. Yeah.
everyone was
That
talking
made
about
8.3 million, dude. Are you kidding me?
8.3 million. So much money.
8.3.
On a
Um,
sub-$1 million investment, that's an 800% return. I mean, sign me up, dude.
I
I'll
mean,
take
no,
that
it's
shit all
great,
day.
but it was
Duper
I think it was
duper.
very popular as a rental, and everyone was
Yes.
talking about it. And
Yep.
what's great about this movie is the plot is intriguing enough to like get you to want to watch it. I think as a first time watcher, and if this was my first time watching it, I'd probably give it a higher letter grade. But there was nothing that I didn't know was going to happen. So I was very conscious about every other factor about it. And no, there's no.
Yeah, this movie's like The
I've-
Sixth Sense. I mean, it's not a movie that you go watch twice and you're like, oh, I didn't see
Nah,
that
No, that's
coming.
not true.
at least
The
the
Sixth
Sixth
Sense is a
Sense,
good
that
movie.
second watch, the second watch through the Sixth Sense, you get to watch for all the shit and be like, oh, now I see all the little points. It's not as good, but it's still interesting. The first time I watched this, it was up until the very end. I was like, oh, maybe this is, oh, okay, it's a thriller, it's psychological, but the ending was so dissatisfying, and I felt really unrealistic that the second time watching it through, it's like, oh, I'm not looking forward to anything that's gonna be coming up. Not one bit of this movie am I like, oh, cool, here it comes. Zero.
I
But
actually think they
again, the
could have.
taser was pretty fun.
I actually think, and I think it may have been a conscious choice on the part of the directors or whoever put the movie together, but I actually think the final scene does a good job, and Russ alluded to it earlier, of depicting that he is so completely emasculated by this 14-year-old girl that rather than assaulting her and breaking free and going out and facing whatever the consequences are in the wider world, he just steps off the roof. I mean, so maybe she didn't physically take his balls, but by the end of the movie, she had his balls in her hand, 100%.
No, she did physically take his balls.
No,
No,
she didn't actually physically
He
take
was
his
wearing
balls.
a fucking chip clip.
Yeah,
She
she
put a
didn't.
goddamn chip
No way, a
clip on
dude
his
that's
nuts.
got his fucking balls just cut off is jumping up and running around the fucking house. I don't care in
Yeah,
any
fuck no, dude.
capacity. No, it
I
was
don't know.
all a hoax. It was all a
Joe
hoax.
couldn't even lift shit, and he's still got him. They just cut a piece.
Yeah.
I interpreted that as that's how she stitched him up.
No,
She's holding it together like
you
that.
skipped the whole fucking thing, dude. Yeah, they did the little plot point. He goes to the friggin' VCR. There's
He feels
a
down and he
video.
says, "I'm still there."
Yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah,
He doesn't-
she didn't take his balls for real. It's all
There
a
was
fucking game.
there was blood on the side of the ice bag
It's
though.
jelly. It was all staged. The whole thing was staged.
all staged.
Mm.
It's literally in the movie.
So dumb.
I'm gonna Google
So
it.
dumb.
Please
When I'm looking
please
on
do.
IMDb, if you wanna Google something, let's talk about something interesting. When I'm looking on IMDb, the first two movies it recommends like this, one I've seen and one I haven't. So the one I haven't is We Need to Talk About Kevin. Do you guys have you ever looked into that movie at all?
I've never looked into it. No.
So it's got Tilda Swinton or Swanton or whatever her name is, and I believe it's basically about like parents who realize their kid is fucked up and a potential future serial killer, and they have to come to a decision on what do we do about this child. Seems very heavy. I never watched it because who wants to watch it like that? But I did watch Funny Games, which I don't think either one of you have seen either.
I've never even heard of it.
That movie's fucked up. It's about these two 18 to 22-year-olds, somewhere in that range, dressed very nicely, out on like a Nantucket Island golf course community. And they take this family hostage and they torture them in multiple ways until, I don't want to give a spoiler in case you want to watch a horrible movie
Yeah,
that'll
no, I'm
never
good.
leave your
I'm good.
psyche.
Yeah, it's
But
like
they
the
kill
house.
mom, dad, and the kid, and then move on to another house. That's the end of the movie, is they move on to the next fucking house where they're going to do the same thing again.
Yeah, it's like House of a
Those
Thousand Corpses.
movies
I don't need to see it. Dude.
Sound they are vastly superior to this. So I thought it was interesting that it said more like this. And I'm like, hey, where's the shitty 2005 movies where Elisha Cuthbert eats ground up
Do you guys
ear?
remember that movie?
See, and it's funny that
The-
you would say that is a superior movie because in this one, no, I mean, other than him hanging himself, there's no gratuitous violence in it. Yeah, I mean, it's not over the top. I mean, the castration scene
That
just expands to overshadow the whole movie. Like everybody's who's ever seen it,
I
it's all you can
don't
anticipate.
know.
And after it's done, you
No.
can't pay attention to what happens after. Like, I mean, the cinematography is well done, the lighting's well done, the setting of the scenes is all well done. The over the head shot when she finds the safe in the table with the rocks. I mean, that's a great frame.
I'll give you that. That's probably, top 3 favorite portions of the movie is when she figures out the coffee table.
The date when she's
Agreed.
running through the combinations. I mean, she's done her, I mean, she's almost serial killer-esque in that scene. She's got all the information on this fucking guy.
Pretty good. Pretty good. As far as Elliot Page then they goes, what do you think is a better role? Name one.
Her
Better
role in
role.
Inception.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew it. I absolutely 100% knew you were going to do Inception.
And then
I would
obviously
say
Juno.
that's right on the edge. I don't know. She's not great in that.
Nah, she's not great. I would say Juno. I've seen Juno. Elliot Page is good in that movie. That's the one that he got all of his Academy Award nominations. He was actually the 4th youngest Academy Award nominee. Took home lots of awards for his portrayal in that movie.
Come on.
I mean,
It's just funny, right? It's just funny. The words you're saying just don't match up, and it's funny. But yeah, I would agree, Juno, really good movie. Whip It is probably my favorite. I feel that was their best role. Really great movie.
Another movie I
Made me
saw
wonder why
because of
Drew
my
Barrymore
wife.
didn't direct more movies.
Another movie I saw because of my wife. And yeah, that was a good movie.
I think for me it's probably Juno as well. I don't remember watching Whip It. I've never been like a big Elliot Page fan.
What about
And-
Super?
Yeah, I like him in Super.
When they rape Rainn Wilson. That movie is fucking insanity. Shut up, crime. Dude, that movie is well worth watching.
I don't know why we
multiple
haven't done it.
times.
I've thought many
'cause
times you were going to
it's on
pick it.
It's like a crazy amount of heavy. Like it seems very light, but it's got so much. And that's James Gunn. Like that's the guy bringing you Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the guy who's now swapped over to DC and is about to try and revitalize them. He did. He's the one who did the Suicide Squad, right? The second one that was actually good. Yeah.
Do you guys
Like,
want to know how much movie Super made in theaters?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
$593,000.
I don't doubt it, dude.
Dude, I remember
you
Ben
kidding me?
recommended. Ben kept recommending this movie. He's like, "You got to watch this movie. You got to watch." It took me 3 times to watch it because the
Dude,
first time I
it's-
turned it
it's-
on to watch it, I was like, "No, I'm not ready for all that."
Yeah, dude. No, it's like it's not made to be a heavy movie, but you watch it and like this shit's heavy. It's dude. That movie's a really fucking
What's
interesting
the-
movie.
Is it called Special? With Michael Rappaport, Special. You seen that one?
No.
Mm-mm. And I
I'd
like me
say-
some Rappaport.
It's another like unexpectedly heavy kind of movie. I'd say
Yeah.
not as funny. It's more like somebody who thinks he has superpowers, but really he's just not.
Special.
Yeah.
It's like Kick Ass.
Special. All right. What about worst? Do you think there's any worst roles for Elliot Page?
I mean, I've never seen Trailer Park Boys. I'd imagine that one wasn't well done.
Trailer Park Boys is actually pretty freaking funny.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I've never watched it. I don't know.
I've
I don't
never
know if I
watched
need
it.
to.
You gotta actually watch it, and like the it's one of those movies where it's not funny until you've invested time into it. Like the first 30 minutes, you're just like, I'm only watching this because you're my roommate. That happened to me. And
So
by the end of
it's
it,
like being a member on this show, basically.
kind of,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But like the investment, like all the jokes that come later in the movie are funny because you made that 30-minute investment, and they're really good if you do put the time into it.
Yeah.
I only watched it the one time, but I remember like crying. I was laughing so hard, and there were, I want to say, like 5 other people. It was when I lived at the London house, and we were all just like, yeah, sure, we'll watch this movie because you want to. And it was great.
You sound like you're from London. I got a hot take. Hot take. Shadowcat, Kitty Pride, not my favorite role for
Yeah.
them.
No, I would
I
agree.
always thought I felt like that was stunt casting. Like all you're doing is looking for a diminutive brunette when you should have looked for somebody who could have really taken that role on.
Yeah.
That was
I
one of my favorite X-Men from the comics, so I was really disappointed.
I
Have-
really liked that scene though with Juggernaut. Like,
Right.
did you ever see the before it came out, the I'm the Juggernaut bitch? That was
Yeah,
really funny.
yeah, that was
That
an early
just
meme, I feel like.
great internet meme. And when they put it in the movie, you were just like, wow, these guys understand internet comedy.
They understood the assignment.
Juggernaut, bitch.
Have either of you watched The Umbrella Academy?
Yes, I watched the first season.
No,
It was good.
I tried.
I
It was
watched
good.
all of it. I don't feel like it was Elliot's best work. I think he
Mm,
um probably could have done
hey,
more. I do feel, and this is, it because it's Elliot Page, so we're just going to talk about it for a second. In that show, um, you know, Elliot makes he comes out between season 2 and season 3, and in the show they transition his character from the sister that he portrayed, and he shows up and he tells his family, I'm a I'm your brother now, and this is my new name. And they don't even miss a beat, dude. It's a great
we're totally accepting.
it's a great example of
We're young and
complete
we can take it. I
it's a
feel like
great
the
example
whole
of complete acceptance. I mean, it really was.
yeah.
It was first it was shocking. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because I hadn't been in touch with what was going on with Elliot. But as it progressed through the end of season 3, it was like, man, if only it was that easy.
What's the
Mm-hmm.
what's
Like
the
if only
movie?
people just accepted you for who you were, right? Like that was pretty
What a
fucking cool.
beautiful world. Yeah.
What's the movie
Uh,
where is it John C. Riley dies and then they're like, wait, we found out he has a country version twin brother, and it's just
no,
like,
that's Beer Fest.
yeah,
The
Beer
fuck?
Fest, and they're just
That's
like, you
Beer
can be
Fest.
part of our crew now.
Yeah, right. I
I
would like
don't.
it if you all called me. Yeah, very silly. Uh, I felt like, and I was thinking about watching this, that the trans movement is probably our generation's racism. Like you think about at this
Mm.
age, you're pretty much over racism. You're like, yeah, whatever. No, people are people, and it doesn't matter what race you are. But you think about like our fathers and or grandfathers and how they would have looked at it. It's like, oh, it's how they were raised. I feel like when our kids are older, it'll be like, what, your granddad has a problem with me swapping or the fact that I've transitioned? And it's like, well, that's how they were raised. It's to me a very interesting kind of a time to understand acceptance, and more than acceptance, just you do your thing, and
Right.
you know I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really need to
I'm gonna do
like,
my
be a
thing. You
banner
do your
member?
thing. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't need the merit badge. You know, I mean, I'll support whatever it is that you decide you want to do.
The journey is the destination.
That's right. The journey is the destination. What did you guys think
As
about
long as you
Patrick?
come out being a better person, it's all good.
Absolutely. What did you guys think about Patrick Wilson? What's your favorite Patrick Wilson role?
Night Owl, baby. Come on.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, I
This
right
is
like
fucking-
hands
It's
down.
one of the
Like,
best
yeah,
castings.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you know,
hands down.
I think
boop, The Watchmen. Watch our episode.
yeah,
Hit that
it's
button
definitely
where we
Night
just
Owl,
gush.
but The
Conjuring.
Conjuring is
Fuck
an
yeah.
incredible horror movie.
Fuck yeah.
Like,
Both
one of the
him and
best.
Vera Farmiga are phenomenal in that. I'm not into horror movies, and that's a really great movie. Both of them are really good.
Dude, I kind of want to rewatch it. It was like I had not seen a horror movie that good in quite a while when I watched that movie.
Yeah.
I might watch it. I actually wasn't aware how much into the horror scene he was because I knew him primarily from his role on Watchmen, and then had vaguely, was a little surprised when I saw him on screen for this one. I was like, oh, he's in this movie.
What
When,
about A-Team? Did you ever watch that A-Team movie
Oh
reboot?
my god, yeah.
Was it not good? I
No,
never
it's
watched
not.
it. It
It's
seemed like
no. I mean,
that's too bad.
if you watch it purely for the bubblegum camp of what the original TV show was, then it is true to the source material.
I remember watching the previews and thinking Bradley Cooper looks like the only good part of that.
It was moderately entertaining if you were an A-Team fan. If you ever watched or grew up watching the A-Team on, by time I was watching the A-Team, it was on the USA Network, right? So you never got to see the whole episode.
Right.
But
just at the
Good old
tail end of
USA
Fantasy
Network.
Island being on ABC on Fridays and shit.
dude, how
Yeah.
did the USA Network manage to do shit like Porky's that was PG?
Well, by cutting it to be absolute
Oh.
dog shit. Just absolute dog shit.
Just cut all. I remember watching movies on the USA Network and then being older and watching the movie and being like,
Oh yeah.
"What the fuck?
Yes.
What?
I've never seen it. Yeah, there are many movies like that, especially from the 80s,
Oh,
where I'd watch
yeah.
later and be like, where did this scene come from? Holy shit. Boobs.
I like
Yeah.
this movie way more.
Dude, like Airplane. Saw Airplane a number of times before you realize there's a scene of a naked lady just running straight in front of the camera and then running off camera. It's like, when did they just cut this in recently? Oh no, I've been watching it on TV.
Right. Interesting
Have,
enough, Life of Brian never on USA Network.
When
I don't
When
know about
Sonya-
that.
when Sonya was watching this movie, not to distract from all of that talk, she saw Patrick
Too
Wilson.
late.
She was like, "Oh, the guy from Little Children," and all I
Oh,
could
wow.
think
Yeah.
was,
That's what
all
I
I
was
could think was like, "Oh no, that's what she thinks of when she sees
Yeah.
the guy in this movie that I fucking hate." She thinks Little Children, like another movie that I no.
That's pretty rough. Rorschach's in that too. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure castrates himself. Right? At the park. Right?
Himself just does it.
I'm
himself.
pretty sure that's what happens.
Do we need to talk about it?
We need another
I-
shrimp for the
I don't
Barbie.
know.
I got you covered.
Little
We're
Children was definitely a movie I thought was good, but I don't want to watch again.
Need some more beans for the chili. Here, I got
He
you.
was one of the main characters in Phantom of the Opera, which
No
when's
thanks.
the last time you watched that?
I mean, I've seen it multiple times. The actual stage production. The movie was all right. I actually preferred the original movie production.
Yeah. Yeah, my
Yeah.
parents used to love that. I remember my mom and dad training Jean Valjean and Jean Valjean.
Yeah.
Like it was a joke between them. That's way young memory. Yeah. I got the audiobook, 60 hours for the audiobook, way
Woo.
better than the movie. You know why?
Oh yeah.
No singing. Not a bit.
That movie has 33% on Rotten Tomato from the critics, 84% from general audience.
Huh.
Les
Yeah,
Mis?
wow. Now we're talking
Yeah,
about
I'm
Phantom
sure
of the
they
Opera.
fucking dude. Russell Crowe, like, why is Russell
Butler.
Crowe
You're-
in that
you're-
fucking movie?
You're talking about two different movies, man. We're talking Phantom of the Opera. You're talking Les Mis. Is
I'm
Les
talking
Mis the
about both
book?
of them.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know.
we were talking about Gerard Butler.
I
Is
feel like
not Russell
I
Crowe.
feel like Ben's talking about them. They. I don't know that we're.
What is going
No,
on?
we're on the same page.
All right.
Who else is in this movie?
That's
Nobody.
pretty it.
Sandra
yeah,
Oh.
no,
All right.
Yeah. Not
Like
Sandra
and
Oh.
subscribe.
Sandra Oh, yeah.
Sandra Oh. Subscribe. Yeah. Sandra Oh, two best roles, Killing Eve and Sideways. That's my hot take. But that's just because I never watched Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
all right in that movie.
I think
she's.
It's
Grey's
Grey's Anatomy.
I think Grey's Anatomy is just Sandra Oh. Like I don't feel like there's actually any character there. It's just Sandra Oh. Just being Sandra.
Killing Eve is really good though. If you haven't watched that, I recommend it. Really fun show.
Sideways.
Sideways.
She was in
You're
Mulan
getting
too.
married? She's good in that. When she gets pissed, dude, when she's flirting with fucking Ted or whatever the hell his name is, dude, she's good in Sideways. But Sideways
you're
is
right.
a
I
good
forgot
movie.
Sideways. Sideways is a good movie.
She's like,
Sideways
isn't
is
she
a good
topless in
movie.
that movie?
No.
Pretty sure there's a sex scene that's pretty like, wow, she's
no. See, we're talking about the USA
I'm-
Network version.
I'm pretty sure that's the dirty biker who he forgets his wallet because the husband comes home. Who is, I always think of him as the guy from Lost.
in Sideways. No, I don't think he's in Lost.
Yeah, he is.
Thomas
The
Hayden
big
Church?
biker dude who you see his dick when he's running after the car. The husband of the chick that
Not Thomas
Dude,
Hayden
don't-
Church.
Yeah,
don't-
lots of
don't not Thomas Hayden Church, the dude with the big bushy beard, and don't fucking get in front of me on this. Jesus. It's like making
Don't
a show with my
fucking get
brother's
in front of
kids
me.
or something.
MC
Hey.
Gainey?
That's him.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He
Remember, he's on Lost and he combs out his beard so it's jutting straight out. I'm like, that's an interesting choice.
he isn't okay. He's the guy who's in the hatch with.
He's one of the
Desmond.
others.
No, isn't he with Desmond in the hatch in the beginning?
I don't think so,
On
bro.
Desmond's
He's like the
past?
right hand man of the dude.
Yeah, who was in there with?
Let's talk
Desmond?
about Lost. Let's talk about Lost.
I've never watched it, so it's going to be a short conversation.
Yes. I don't know what's wrong with you.
I'm friends with you guys, and I hear you talk about these shows, and I'm like, yeah, no, still don't want to watch it.
Lost is sick. Biggest tragedy of Lost is Evangeline Lilly's character. They wrote her so poorly by the end. So poorly. Anywho, do you have any more stuff for Hard Candy, Joe?
No, I mean, there's not really much more to talk about. I mean, we got it out of the gate early with the castration scene, much like the movie that really kind of laid a shadow over this entire episode. But it is what it is. We had some good discussion. And
Sure did. This is an award-winning show.
I don't know about this
And
show
it's,
specifically. I did have a couple things about David Slade, despite the fact that this was his feature film debut.
Right. He did do 30 Days a Night.
He did 30 Days a Night. He did a number
did a
of
couple other good
episodes
ones.
on Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he did.
you
He
know,
does some pretty good dark shit. I was reading through his. I didn't write any of it down because I'm,
not
bad
the
at what I
host.
do. But yeah, it didn't matter that much. But he does. He's pretty good at the
Yeah.
heavier. Like, he's good. Not bad.
I'm
His
glad he
eyes-
got his break. And to talk about, this show's talked a lot about balls. Big balls for this to be your directorial debut. to bring this movie to life. Kudos to him for making it happen.
Speaking of
Yes.
kudos, how come they don't make that anymore? Do you
Probably
think
because it's got stuff that's legal in like 90% of the rest of the world, and somebody figured it
Is
out.
that right?
And figured
Do you think it was just styrofoam?
I mean, most of what you buy at the grocery stores in America is styrofoam.
Not food, but food shaped products.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about
Yeah.
that the other day. Where did the kudos bar go? It was big in my youth. Anyway, speaking
Yeah,
of kudos,
same here.
hey, kudos to us for making it through this episode.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe. Please hit a button to watch another one. Watchmen was good. Juice, that was another good one.